Hi, and welcome back to the Adored Woman podcast. I'm your host, Naomie Thompson. There is a particular kind of relationship confusion that I want to talk about today, and that is situationships. So, you're seeing someone, it's lovely a lot of the time, and you've been doing this for months now. And if a friend were to say to you, what actually are you to each other? What's happening with you two? You might not know what to say. And that is the bit that women struggle with in this situation. It's not maybe arguments or drama, if there is any. It's actually the not knowing. And it's that quiet, low-level, clenchy feeling of, where do I stand here? And that feeling follows you around all week. And if that is you, you might just be in a situationship. And today I want to help you to work out whether you are, what it actually means, and what you can do about it. So before I jump into all the content here, I would love for you to subscribe or follow this podcast, and then you will get notified when future episodes come out. And it lets me know that you really like what you're hearing. So let's start with what a situationship actually is. A situationship is a romantic connection with no agreed commitment. You are more than friends. You're doing relationship style things. You're doing dates and texting and intimacy and sometimes even weekends away. But nobody has ever said what it actually is you're doing. There's no label, there's no plan, and there's no conversation about where any of it's going. And the difference between that and a committed relationship isn't how nice it feels. Situationships can feel wonderful when you're together. The difference is clarity. In a committed relationship, you both know what you are, you're both intentional about it, and you're both moving in the same direction on purpose. But in a situationship, you're kind of moving sideways or you're staying still, and that can go on for months or even years. And I have had women come to me in their late 30s, early 40s. They've been in situationships for years, and now they're saying, I want family, I want children. Is it too late for me? And these situationships are everywhere now. The apps have made it really easy to keep your options open indefinitely because there's always another profile. There's always someone else who might be slightly better. And it's becoming so normalized that women are starting to believe that a situationship is just something you have to go through as part of the romantic process or the process to a relationship. Like it's a stage of a relationship. And it really, really isn't. What I'm seeing is there's a real nervousness now about commitment, about being the one who wants more. So people will tolerate drifting instead. So nobody has to say anything difficult. Nobody has to be the needy one. Everyone just keeps going. And the trouble is, drifting isn't a natural part of the relationship process, and it's costing you time and energy and emotions. And maybe even your baby making years if you haven't had your babies yet. So here are the signs that you are in a situationship. I want you to see how many of those land with you. And please let me know in the comments section what you're noticing, what you've noticed in the past, and what you're noticing now in your relationship. So the first sign is you've never had the conversation. You're months in, maybe even years, and neither of you has actually said what this is. And you've noticed you're a bit scared to ask. And maybe you're scared of the answer that you don't want to hear. The second sign is he avoids the future. Now, it might not be hugely dramatic. It might be quite subtle, but you just can't seem to make a plan more than a fortnight in advance. Maybe you mention a wedding you're going to in September and you've got a +1 and he's just quite vague about it, his answer. Or maybe Christmas comes up and the subject changes. Watch for that. The third sign is that communication comes and goes, and this doesn't always happen in a situationship, but if it is happening, you will know it's happening. I'm guaranteed you will feel it. So maybe he's constant for 4 days and then you get nothing for 2 or 3 days. And then you catch yourself hunting for clues in his last few messages. Like, what did he mean by that? Did I say something wrong? The fourth is you haven't met anyone in his life. no friends, no family, you haven't met his colleagues. You exist in a little bubble that never touches the rest of his world. And if right now you are experiencing this, I hope that just hearing me say that sentence will give you a little jolt to be aware of the situation you're in. That what's happening with you and him is existing in a little bubble that is separate from the rest of his life. The next sign is that you're confused a lot, and this is a really big one. If you're spending real energy trying to work out what he means, what it is he wants, like where you stand, that confusion is information, because when you are with someone who is relationship ready, they want a relationship with you, you are going to feel it. You're not going to feel confused. You may still feel anxious sometimes, but you're not going to feel confused. The next sign is that nothing has moved or changed. So month 6 looks exactly like month 2. There's no progression, there's just repetition. So you may be just going on dates. He comes to your place, you go to his place, you spend some weekends together and some not. Now, here's what I want you to notice about that list. There is nothing on it that couldn't be sorted with one honest conversation, which tells you something about why it isn't happening. Because if one conversation could clear all of this up, and it could, then months of confusion isn't an accident. Somebody is avoiding that conversation, and it is worth being really honest about who and why. Now, sometimes it's him. The ambiguity is working for him. So he's getting the intimacy, he's getting the company, the weekends. He's getting all of it without having to give up anything or promise anything. So in that situation, why would he raise it? So that the confusion is comfortable when you are the one it's serving. Now, sometimes it's you. You're not asking because part of you already suspects what the answer is. And as long as the question stays unasked, you get to keep the hope. You get to keep that maybe it will work. You get to keep the vision of him you've built in your mind. So asking risks swapping all of that for a no. But I have learnt this, and I say it with so much love, that not asking does not protect you from the no. It does not protect you from the answer, because the answer already exists, and it's sitting there in how he's showing up, and it's sitting there in your gut feeling, whether you ask or not. All the silence does is delay the day you find out, all the while the months tick by. So if clarity were easy to get here, you would have it by now. Now, before I get to what to do, I want to say something that I think explains a lot. So if you are sleeping with this man, if there's real physical intimacy here, and that could just be kissing, cuddling, all of that, then something is happening in your body that has nothing to do with whether he's right for you. So you're producing the bonding hormone oxytocin, and that's what we do when we're close to people. You're bonding to him. Chemically and physically, your body is doing exactly what it's designed to do, which is attaching. And that attachment doesn't check first whether he wants the same things that you do. That's down for you to do. And that bonding hormone doesn't ask whether he's capable of the relationship you're after. It just bonds. And once you're bonded to someone, your body starts treating that person as safety, as home. It's the same wiring that bonds a mother to her baby, and it's ancient and it's powerful, and it doesn't care whether he's texted you back. So when the communication drops out for 3 days, you're not just disappointed, you're dysregulated. The person your body has decided is safety has vanished, and every alarm you've got inside of you starts going off. And then that's why you check your phone 40 times. That's why you can't concentrate at work. And that's why a perfectly capable, accomplished woman finds herself reading a 3-word message over and over again, hunting for the clues. Because there's nothing wrong with you. You've bonded to a man who isn't offering you anything steady to bond to. And your nervous system is doing exactly what it's built to do. It's to give you that alarm. And the hot and cold makes it so much worse, because when he comes back, you get flooded with relief, which your brain reads as this is love, this is intense, this must be something really real and great. But it isn't intensity because he's the one. It's intensity because you were in the withdrawal and he's just given you the thing back that you were craving. So then again, you find yourself daydreaming, wanting him to be the one, and it feels like love and it feels like your gut is telling you something. But some of this is just chemistry doing its job, and it's really important to know that. And this is why I go on so much, and I say to you again and again, the relationship you want is the prize, not the man. Because when the man is the prize, everything in you organizes yourself around him. You're watching his face for signs. You're adjusting what you say. You're becoming slightly easier, slightly lower maintenance, slightly cooler, slightly less bothered than you actually are. And you don't notice you're doing it because it feels like being nice. It feels like not making a fuss. And there is this whole thing out there on social media about being unbothered. And, I love it. I'm reading the book by that title at the moment, and I love what's underneath it. But don't mistake being unbothered for like displaying unbotheredness, for pretending to be unbothered, because that's just another way of being the cool girl. When you raise your inner strength, when you become more self-aware, you will naturally feel less bothered. You will naturally feel less bothered about what a person thinks or what they're doing or whether they're into you or not. You might feel disappointed, but you're not going to be bothered. But when you are pretending to be cool and pretending you're not bothered, underneath it's like you're auditioning. You've handed him the clipboard and you're waiting to hear whether you've got the part in his show. But when the relationship you want is the prize, you are the star of your own show. You're holding something completely different. You're holding a picture of your life, how you want to feel in your ideal relationship on a Sunday morning, what it's like to come home to your perfect relationship, the way a good man talks to you when you're upset, the way he shows up when you're poorly. That's the thing I want you to be attached to. That's the thing I want you to future trip about, not about him, because the man in front of you needs to show you he really is capable of being in a relationship with you, and he shows you that with consistent actions over time. So from there, from the standpoint of I'm curious, show me who you are, from there you can look at him almost like you'd look at anyone else. Like, yeah, he's lovely and he's handsome and the intimacy is great and he's great fun on a night out. And does he want what I want? And that question is so much easier to ask when you're not terrified of the answer. Because if the answer's no, you haven't lost the prize. He was never the prize. You've just found out he isn't the vehicle to what you want, and you can go and find one that is. Because, a guy who is all of those wonderful things, but doesn't want a relationship or isn't ready for a relationship, he's like a leaky boat. He is just not going to get you to your destination without sinking you. So don't get hooked on a man until he's shown you over time that he's capable of the relationship that you really want, and that he wants that with you too, and you feel really good about it. Because before that, he's just a lovely stranger you're getting to know. So let him earn your commitment and your time and your investment. So if you are in a situationship, or if you want to guard yourself from getting into one, what do you do? So first, just get honest with yourself. And it's not honest about him, but about you. What do you actually want? And I mean really want. What's the thing you might not have said out loud even to yourself? If you want a committed relationship, if you want a marriage, if you want a family, own it. Because you can't ask for something you won't admit to. There are many women who want children. They want to be a stay-at-home mum. How do I ask someone to provide for me? Just say, there are plenty of guys who will want to do that. But own it, because this is your one true and precious life. And a lot of women stay in situationships because staying is easier than admitting they want more and risking hearing no. There's this whole fear of hearing no, but you're not protecting yourself. You're just delaying the answer while the months and the years go by. So the next is have the conversation and do it from your feelings, not from interrogation, not from what are we, where are we going. Try saying something like, I've realized I want a committed relationship and I'd love to know what your thoughts are about that. So can you see there, you're not demanding a label, you're telling the truth about yourself and you're giving him the chance to meet you. And then let his answer be the answer. Third, watch what he does, not just what he says. Words are really easy. Anyone can say the right thing in a moment. But what you want to see is the pattern over weeks. Like, is he moving towards you consistently? Or is he still hot and cold, but with a nicer vocabulary? And fourth, know when it's time to go. If you've been honest, if you've had the conversation and nothing has changed, then that's your answer. He's told you. He might not have used the words no, but he's told you. And in the show notes, I will link the episode I did all about how to hear a man's no, even if he's not saying the word no. So here's what I really want you to take away from this is wanting clarity doesn't make you too needy or too demanding. It makes you a woman who knows what she's here for. And any man who's genuinely right for you won't be put off by you knowing your own mind. The right man will be relieved because a man who wants a relationship and wants it with you, he's going to want the same thing. He wants to know where he stands too. And you're allowed to want a real relationship and you're allowed to say it out loud and you're allowed to walk away from something that's never going to become one. And how about let's normalize trusting ourselves to get through the disappointment and the sadness that the person we thought could be the one isn't actually the one. Because disappointment doesn't last forever. Heartbreak, sadness doesn't last forever. So if this resonated and you'd like to go deeper, hey, feel free. If you are thinking about coaching, book a free call with me. We can just talk about how coaching might work for you. It's a really relaxed call. I will link my calendar in the show notes. And I really look forward to welcoming you to the next episode.